BlackRock Bitcoin ETF seems like old news, but for some reason parts that deserve absolute critical attention did not get that attention whatsoever. You might end up holding something that's gonna go close to zero. Let's go through this. This is what I do all day, every day. Let's get right to it. I'll bring your attention to a few bits. I'll connect it all together. Trust me, it gets better and better. The rabbit hole goes deep. So, a few parts. In the event of a hard fork, I'll highlight what I'm reading. The sponsor, BlackRock, is referred to as the sponsor, will, if permitted by the terms of the trust agreement, use its discretion to determine which network should be considered the appropriate network for the trust's purposes, and in doing so may adversely affect the value of the shares. Here comes the punchline. The sponsor may also disagree with shareholders, the Bitcoin custodian, other service providers, the index administrator, cryptocurrency exchanges, or other market participants on what is generally accepted as Bitcoin, and should therefore be considered Bitcoin for the trust's purposes, which may also adversely affect the value of shares as a result. Let me break it down in simple terms. BlackRock is saying they reserve the right to choose which one of the Bitcoin forks networks they will deem as Bitcoin. In other words, it can be BCH, Bitcoin Gold, BSV, or BTC. I will tell you which one I think it is, and I'll give you my reasons. But let me show you a few things before we come back to the filing. Maybe someone can help me out here. Now, this is the BSV rich list, the top 100 BSV wallets out there that hold the most BSV. Number 1 over here holds over 1.56 million BSV. In the last 7 days alone, they've bought another over 28,000 and added it to their stack. Currently, they hold over 8% of the entire BSV supply out there, which is identical to the BTC supply. In other words, there will only ever be 21 million. And now the kicker here is, if we go on chain, is that this wallet was first seen on the 10th of the 1st, 2023. In other words, the first transaction that went into this wallet was on the 10th of the 1st of 2023. Someone from the beginning of this year went on a fucking rampage, scooping up and buying up as much BSV as they can on a down low for cheap, without triggering or mooning the price. Somebody help me out here. Maybe someone can tell me, is this an exchange? Is that a particular whale that everyone knows about? Could this be BlackRock? Are they hedging their bets? Help me out here. Now look at the transactions. They ain't playing around. They just keep buying. Look, over 11,000 BSV, 28,000, 1,000, 10,000, 3,000. What's going on? I think I may know what it is. These are my thoughts. It may be BlackRock, and you might think, what's the motive? Now, I found a possible motive in the actual SEC BlackRock Bitcoin ETF filing. January next year, we will see the biggest crypto trial that we've seen so far. Bigger than XRP, bigger than Luna, bigger than anything else, between Craigwright, the person who calls himself Satoshi Nakamoto and who's going to have to prove who he is, versus COPA, the Crypto Open Patent Alliance, which is pretty much half, if not the whole crypto industry combined. Some of the names include Coinbase, CB Payments, Payword, Blockstream, SquareUp, Block, Spiral, etc. But not only that, but all the BTC developers themselves in their personal capacity. One of the names here is Vladimir Jasper van der Laan. Listen to this.
Vladimir Vonderlaan has contributed more code to Bitcoin Core than any other developer. He is under the Digital Currency Initiative at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Yeah.
They received most of their funding from a company called Digital Garage, a guy named Joi Ito. He's a Japanese man.
Yeah.
And they received that money. They actually got busted for laundering that money from Jeffrey Epstein. So Jeffrey Epstein wanted to launder money into and pay Bitcoin Core developers to do something with the protocol, right? So why would Jeffrey Epstein care? Well, think about who Jeffrey Epstein's connections are again.
Is the game really dark or what? Let's do a little recap before we carry on, because there's a lot to take on. So far we found out that in a BlackRock Bitcoin ETF filing, BlackRock reserves the right to choose which Bitcoin network they will deem as the Bitcoin. Whatever BlackRock chooses, in my opinion, everyone else will follow. Furthermore, we saw that someone, since the beginning of this year, 2023 January, managed to go on an absolute limb and amass over 1.6 million BSV coins without spiking the price, which is very interesting in itself. I don't know who that is. Maybe you guys can help me out. Now we also see that January 2024 next year, which is in a couple of months, about 5 months, there will be an epic trial between craigwright, the supposed Satoshi Nakamoto, who currently owns the copyright to the Bitcoin white paper, against COPA, the Crypto Open Patent Alliance, which is pretty much over half the crypto industry. I deem them as the cartel, and also the key, if not all, the BTC developers, one of who contributed most of the BTC code, happens to have ties to Jeffrey Epstein. As far as I'm concerned, COPA is the crypto cartel. Now, in case you don't know, craigwright works, and his company nChain, who holds over 4,000, I'll have to be specific, patents, blockchain patents, works on BSV, and he deems BSV as the one and only true Bitcoin. Now, because I do my own critical research, okay, I completely don't care what the majority of the crypto market thinks, agree with that. Majority, if not, I'd say 99% of the crypto market does not. Now, let me tell you what. The crypto cartel, just like you have the CNN, the BBC, and other mainstream channels that are full of shit, basically sponsored and controlled by intelligence agencies, trauma-based mind control. You have COPA, the crypto cartel, that's who I see them as, build big YouTube channels to control public opinion, the crypto market, to manipulate the price, and so on. For example, you take channels like Coin Bureau. The guy is just a presenter. The actual channel, I believe, is owned by a millionaire. It's owned by someone else. And it's one of the biggest channels out there, over 1.5 million subscribers. Come on. BitBoy, someone who looks like a hamster and charisma of a wet durag, is not going to get to 1 million subscribers. Someone's built him up, and he gets told what to do. So you have the big crypto channels out there who act as an authority. Someone who doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't do their own critical research sees an influencer with over 1 million subscribers and sees them as an authority. Well, he said that BSV is a fork. Let me tell you, and I can go into the technicals. In 2017, contrary to the popular belief, everyone has been airdropped a SegWit coin copy of the actual Bitcoin, currently known as BTC. Now, if in January 2024 Craig wins the trial, no one will be able to use the Bitcoin name apart from BSV. So the Bitcoin name, the Bitcoin brand, will go over to BSV, and that will be known as Bitcoin. And BlackRock knows about this. I will show you they mentioned Craig's trial in their filing. They know about it, okay? And this is why they reserved the right to choose which Bitcoin network they will deem as Bitcoin, okay? This is why. There's something else I wanted to say. So now imagine this scenario. You hold BTC, but BlackRock decides that BSV is what they deem as Bitcoin, you know, because of the trial. This is why they left their options open. What do you think will happen to your BTC overnight? Every man and his dog and the dog's fleece, like this, immediately, it will be an absolute rampage, okay? It will be a scramble. We'll change the BTC over to BSV. It will be epic, unprecedented. I'm not telling you to buy BSV. You do what you want to do, but I'm just connecting the dots here. It makes complete sense to me. I mean, if during the trial, okay, Craig manages to win the case, okay, he already managed to win the copyright, and there's a few other wins, kind of wobbly wins, but wins nevertheless, okay? But imagine if that happens. Now, if BlackRock thought there is no such possibility, there's no way that's gonna happen, they'll just say, you know what, BTC. But no, they left their options open. And let me reference them mentioning this particular trial, which is a big deal. It's a huge deal, okay, for you to hedge your bets. Let me reference it. Furthermore, legal claims have been filed in the United Kingdom by an entity associated with an individual named craigwright. Pain in everyone's ass, in crypto cartel's ass in my opinion. The entity alleges that the private keys to Bitcoin, purportedly worth several $billion, were rendered inaccessible to it in a hack, and advances a series of novel legal theories in support of its request that the court compel certain core developers associated with the Bitcoin network to either somehow transfer the Bitcoin out of the Bitcoin address to which the entity no longer can access the private keys to a new Bitcoin address that it currently does control, or alternatively amend the source code to the Bitcoin network itself to restore its access to the stranded Bitcoin. In 2022, the High Court dismissed the claims, finding that the entity had not established a serious issue to be tried. However, in February 2023, the Court of Appeals unanimously overruled the High Court's decision, holding that there was a serious issue to be tried. If a court decides to grant the relief requested, it is possible that wide-ranging and fundamental changes to the source code, operations, and governance of and basic principles underlying the Bitcoin network might be required, and a loss of public confidence in the Bitcoin network could result. Alternatively, Bitcoin could face obstacles to use, or in the United Kingdom, which could reduce adoption. Courts in other jurisdictions could take similar positions. These or other possible outcomes could lead to a decrease in value of Bitcoin, which could negatively impact the value of the shares. So as you can see, BlackRock is well aware of the trial next year. They want to keep their options open. And of course, do you want to buy BTC at 30,000? That's been around since what, 2011? Was it 2009? that so many people already have and make them all rich? Or do you want to buy BSV for $35, buy it on a cheap, that majority of the peasants don't hold? Just a theory, but you can see they are well aware of the absolute pending cryptocalypse that's about to happen in January next year. Now, I can already hear many of you saying, well, BSV is a dead coin, there's nothing much happening with it. Nothing could be further from the truth. It absolutely obliterates anything that's out there. It is the only working scalable blockchain out there. And let me show you some metrics. Let's look at the metrics. Proofs in the pudding. You can't argue with the numbers. I mean, you can look at the price, but the price does not determine the actual value. A little bit about investing. So over the past 24 hours, BSV completely obliterates, destroys, annihilates all the other blockchains in terms of use. The usual argument is, but those are spam transactions. There are no spam transactions. Every single transaction needs to pay a fee. If you run a business and someone comes and buys chewing gum 100,000 or 100 million times, do you care? You don't, because you're getting paid. Same with the transactions. Every single transaction brings money to the network, brings value to the network. There are no such things. Never ever say anything like that again. Now, if you go down, it says, if we go to BTC, currently mimicking Bitcoin, it says January 2009, so 14 years, 6 months and 30 days since its inception. Bitcoinsv says the same. I don't even consider Bitcoin gold. Now, I would argue that this is not entirely correct, because in a Bitcoin white paper it says the longest chain of uninterrupted signatures. With segregated witness in 2017, signatures were ported off to layer 2 segregated witness. So that is a completely different protocol. That is now an altcoin. So what you currently have on CoinMarketCap mimicking as Bitcoin is actually an altcoin with segregated witness with signatures on layer 2. And the only genuine real Bitcoin that actually still works 14 years later, still the most superior blockchain out there, is BSV. We'll get to this. Check this out. Daily Bitcoin transactions by network. The red line is BSV. As you can see, it just keeps going up. I will play a clip from Jeff Bezos. He puts it into perspective, and just listen to what he says, and you will understand where I'm coming from. And just before I play the clip with Jeff Bezos, check this out. So Bitcoin Cash is a ghost chain. Anyone holding Bitcoin Cash, I mean, why? Explain it to me. I can't even take it seriously. I can't imagine BlackRock even considering Bitcoin Cash, not only because it has zero use case, but because the devs keep changing the protocol, adding things, subtracting things. You can't have that. In order for something to be built on top of your blockchain, it has to be stable. You need to have the assurance that the coins that you have now, 50 years later, you'll still be able to use them. If you build an application today, 50 years later, it will still work. And as you can see, no one's using it. No one's using Bitcoin Cash. If you hold Bitcoin Cash, go to Iceland, buy a wet fish and slap yourself across the face. Same with eCash. Now BTC, majority of the hash rate, network nodes, but they can't even fill the 2 megabyte block size with transactions because no one uses it. People hodl it. Okay, so it's a Ponzi. People just hodl it, hoping some other suckers will buy in and pump their bags. On the other hand, and this is why you call it a utility blockchain, you have here block sizes, I believe, what was the last time? 2 gigabytes, and they are full. Transactions full. In fact, today they've set a new record, 106 million transactions in 24 hours. And if you look over here, it just keeps climbing up. Utility blockchain. Now let me play you a clip with Jeff Bezos to put all of this in perspective. And the current price of BSV, you can buy Bitcoin at $36. Okay, it is down. The current price of Bitcoin BSV is down about 90% from the all-time high. All-time high was 450 something. Where is it? Now it's only $36. You can get it, but let me play the clip. Watch this.
Stock at one point I think went to $100, but then it went down to $6 or something like that.
At the peak of the internet bubble, our stock peaked somewhere around $113. Okay. And then after the internet bubble busted open, our stock went down to $6. It went from 113 to 6 in less than a year. So my annual shareholder that year starts with a one-word sentence, and that one-word sentence is the word ouch.
So most of those internet companies of the dot-com era are out of business.
Yeah.
You survived. What was it that made you to survive, and virtually the rest of them are gone?
That whole period is very interesting because the stock is not the company, and the company is not the stock. And so as I watched the stock fall from 113 to 6, I was also watching all of our internal business metrics, number of customers, profit per unit, everything you can imagine, defects, etc. Every single thing about the business was getting better and fast. And so as the stock price was going the wrong way, everything inside the company was going the right way.
Wall Street kept saying, well, Amazon's not making any money. They're just getting customers. Where's the profits? Where are the profits? And Wall Street kept beating you up on that. And your response was, I don't really care what you think.
Jeff is basically saying the company Amazon back in the days during the dot-com bubble was booming. On the other hand, the perception that the public had of Amazon was the opposite. So they kept selling the stock. So the price of the stock kept going down because the perception of the public was that Amazon is not making any money, it's not successful. Whereas internally, in the actual world, Amazon was booming. Now, in my opinion, crypto mimics the dot-com bubble. Eventually, and I think we can all agree on that, 99.9% of all the cryptos out there will see, blockchains, cryptos, tokens will cease to exist because there will be one global chain, maybe a few others, and I want to document, I want to give you an example, so have a look at this. Here's a perfect example. When the internet came around, there was a competition between internet browsers, and you may think whoever had the first mover advantage would very likely stay on top. However, history time and time again has shown that this is not the case. So I'll just play this time lapse. We started off with Mosaic in 1993, and as time went on, capitalism, other browsers came around. So we had Netscape, Yahoo was a big one. At one point, Google wanted to buy Yahoo out for an obscene amount of money, and Yahoo was like, do you know what, stick it. And later on, Yahoo did sell out to Google for an absolute fraction of what they were initially offered. So as you can see, Mosaic had the first runner advantage. However, Netscape took over, and then Internet Explorer came around. And then I'll just fast forward this a little bit. Internet Explorer was dominating back in 2001. I had 94% of the entire market share. You can kind of look at BTC right now, who holds the dominant cut of the market share. However, then Firefox came around, started taking the share away from Internet Explorer. As time went on, Google came out of nowhere. This is where Mosaic was completely forgotten, and Google went on an absolute rampage. destroying Firefox. Yahoo is nowhere to be seen here anymore. Firefox got obliterated, and Google just ate everything like a Pac-Man. Like 2013 already they took, even though Internet Explorer had 95% of the market share, Google just came and just took it away. And you can transfer this particular scenario into crypto, where eventually the underdog can come and completely obliterate its competition. And currently, if I fast forward a bit even more, Google Chrome holds 68%, 67% of the browser market, and then you have other browsers like Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, and so on. So this could be like a little, what's it called, analysis as to what may happen to the crypto market. There'll be one global blockchain, and then there'll be a few specialized, maybe internal blockchains, which kind of defeats the purpose. So maybe BSV at the top, and then we may have XRP or Hedera or wherever else on the side. But this is how I see things developing. There'll be one global chain, and then when I tell you the vision of MetaNet, where they want to completely destroy the advertising model and port the entire internet onto blockchain, this is a video of its own, where everything you do on the internet will be on the Bitcoin blockchain, generating transactions and money, where you will pay an absolute fraction of a cent, so you won't even feel it, but you will get way more of a quality experience and actually what you desire, what you look for, rather than being bombarded by advertising. But I'll go into depth in another video. And of course, the icing on the cake. Forbes on Twitter posted this 9 times. It may not matter if Craig Wright created Bitcoin. The real question is whether the nearly 4,000 patents he controls or has pending will force computer programmers around the world to stop using open source software as they do now, or pay up. If he can wield his trove of 800 granted and 3,000 pending patents in 46 jurisdictions the way he wants to, he could soon start charging for the right to build a wide variety of blockchain applications. That would affect everything from the 1 trillion cryptocurrency market to corporate implementations built by some of the largest companies in the world. This is Forbes. More ominously, Wright is employing legal tactics that could set precedents for software issued under permissive copyright rules known as open source, including Meta's widely used open source JavaScript framework known as React, Microsoft's Visual Studio for editing code, and Linus Torvalds' Linux operating system, which powers an estimated 40% of the internet. January 2024, next year, is like a big comet that's heading for the crypto space, and for some reason nobody's talking about it. Now you know, okay? Now, what you buy is entirely up to you, but if you have $72 to buy 2 BSV and hedge your bets just in case, pretty much sounds like a very reasonable thing to do. Is there anything more to be said? One last thing, being green right now is very popular. Everyone's buying electric cars and so on. BlackRock being one of the biggest ESG pushers, will probably look at the consumption of Bitcoin. And once again, Bitcoinsv is the greenest blockchain out there. Yeah, the crypto market is one big echo chamber, and I hope this video helped you to think outside the box and presented you with insights that you have not been aware of earlier on. Some of the information I presented is conflicting. I know I'll get a lower backlash, but it is what it is. In the next video, I'll talk about micropayments, why it is the holy grail of internet innovation, why it destroys the previous business models, especially advertising, and why Silicon Valley big boys like Google and Meta, who have almost complete monopoly over it, absolutely hate it, why Visa and MasterCard with their 3% fees absolutely hate it. Yeah. So that will be my next video. Also, if you like this cap, straight out blockchain, let me give you a better view. A friend of mine started a store with really cool crypto blockchain apparel. There's all sorts of stuff. Today he showed me a really cool phone cover as well. I'll leave the link below. Check it out, show some love. Other than that, see you in the next one.